chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Wherefore, seeing we are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. And for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God.
Graduation. Don't these graduates look great? My privilege to introduce first of all our platform guests. I'm going to ask them to, when I call their name, to rise while I recognize them. They can be seated. Please hold your applause till we've recognized all of them. We've already recognized our scripture reading by Mike McGuire. And let me introduce and ask these people to rise and to be seated. Mr. Mike Bingham from our Alumni Association. Mr. Tony Casillas, our speaker for this evening. Our senior officers, Ms. Lori Perryman, Katie Robinson, Jill Most, and Sheila Hadley. The counselors at East Central High School, Dr. Dorothy Clark, Mr. Jim Baker, and Ms. Sandra Mallory. Our administrative staff at East Central, Mr. Richard Boyes, Dean, Mr. Jim Hart, Assistant Principal, and Ms. Pat Holder, Assistant Principal. Our guests from the Central Office, Dr. Larry Weber, our Area 3 Superintendent, Dr. Blaine Smith, the Division Manager for Human Resources, and then representing our school board, Ms. Nancy Allen. This time I'd like to also recognize our salutatorian and valedictorian, Mr. Bobby Nelson, salutatorian. And then at this time I'm going to recognize our valedictorian and ask him to come forward to deliver the valedictorian's address, Mr. Henry Tran. Let's give all our platform guests a hand.
I bet you guys are thinking, oh great, Henry's going to give one of his lengthy, wordy, verbose, long-winded, and roundabout speeches. Just kidding. But there is one thought I would like to leave with you. In the words of Theodore Roosevelt, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumph, even though scarred by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the great twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. No matter what you choose to do after graduation, I challenge you not to be afraid of failure, because without the risk of failure, there will never be the possibility of success. Thank you.
As a 1981 graduate from East Central High School, he pursued his education at the University of Oklahoma with a major in communications. This is where his football career got started. For his outstanding accomplishments, he was awarded Consensus All-American and also the Lombardi Trophy winner. His superb athletic abilities led him to the Atlanta Falcons for 4 years, and then he transferred to the Dallas Cowboys, where he's been for 3 years. This year, he had the honor of displaying his talents at the 27th Annual Super Bowl. As we all know, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Buffalo Bills. It is my honor to introduce Mr. Tony Casillas.
We don't have any Cowboy fans in here, do we? Woo! How about those Cowboys? Wait a second. We all know what we're basically here for, and that's the 1993 class seniors. It seems just like yesterday I was in here. I mean, that's basically been, well, I don't want to give my age, but that's basically been 12 years ago, 11 and a half. And as I came and as I prepared, I wanted to prepare a speech, but then again I said, well, you know, Tony, I think everyone, basically the kids, the students, want to hear something that comes from their heart. And I contemplated about, well, maybe I'll make up a speech. And I said, well, if I did that, I'd probably sound too much like Bill Clinton. So anyways, I decided I'd just come here and more or less ad-lib a little bit and have some fun, because like I said, this is what it's all about. It's all about you. And it was funny, I was up at the school a day and I was signed a couple autographs, and Pat Holder is a dear friend of mine through the years. She gave me a yearbook, and there was like a 2-page deal on my visit 3 months ago when I came to East Central for the pep rally right after we won the Super Bowl. And she gave me the yearbook, and a couple of students come up to me and they asked me to sign her yearbook. And I'm like, well, wait a second, you know, I'm having flashbacks. It's like when I was a senior in high school. So, well, do you want to sign my yearbook? And they kind of looked at me like, well, you know, you're an old man, so you know, it's kind of a dumbfounded look on their face. But I had fun because because it's been a long time since I had the opportunity to, I always had dreams as far as sitting in your position. You know, I guess, like I said, it's been 3 months since I've been back to East Central, and that day was really memorable in my eye. Been able to achieve a lot of things through football and athletically, and a lot of achievements. But that was a moment that really stuck out in my mind. And I guess when I was asked to come here and be the convention speaker, you know, I didn't really know what kind of message I wanted to give. Because basically, when I was a graduate, they had some politician come up and he was speaking in front of us, and I'm like sitting there scratching my head. I don't even remember who he was. And so I said, well, that's great. So I think this is probably the most memorable moment I'll have is being able to be in front of you and more or less give a testimony of what, you know, my life as far as growing up in high school. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Cameron for asking me and Pat Holder, but most of all, I'd like to thank the student body for having enough faith and wanting me to come here and speak. Obviously, I went to East Central for 3 years, but I guess it all started when I was growing up at Foster Junior High. And I guess that's a transition period that I realized that, hey, you know, I grew up in a family, a large family, and had a lot of people in my family, and I had 5 sisters and 1 brother. Well, my sisters came to Dallas 2 weeks ago, and there's 5 sisters, it's myself and my wife, and my wife, we went to the grocery store and was like, you know, what should we take, you know? I mean, what should we buy for the weekend? So it's like thinking 5 sisters, you know, we have 5 sisters. So I'm in there thinking, well, you know, a half a gallon of milk's not going to be enough. So I go in there and buy like 2 gallons of milk, about 2 loaves of bread, and 2 big quarts of orange juice. And I'm sitting there looking at Lisa, you know, while we're doing this, I'm saying, shaking my head, and I was like, I don't ever see how my mom was able to do this. But basically, we grew up as a large family, had an opportunity to go to Foster Junior High. And like I said, you know, financially, I didn't come from a family that had a lot. Was able to accelerate and do a lot of things athletically and educationally. And I think that was the most important thing. And I remember when I came to East Central, I was, you know, in 10th grade. I mean, it's not like it is now when you're 9th grade, you're in high school. But I had the opportunity to meet a lot of interesting people. And I think the person that had the most influence in my life was Pat Holder. And she doesn't ever like me talking about this because, you know, sometimes it's kind of emotionally, but you always meet people when you grow up that are a big influence on your life. And you always remember what people say. You always face a lot of adversity. It's like Henry stated earlier, that don't be afraid to face failure, because if you're afraid to face failure, you're not ever going to be in a position to take a chance. And I think that's what it's all about. It's about taking a chance and not being afraid to fail, because everybody fails, but it's just a matter of you getting back up and doing it again, because that's the only way you're able to challenge yourself to the next thing. But anyways, Pat, I mean, as I went through high school, there's a lot of things that happened, but I guess she's the person that could be a testimony more than I could, because she was able to observe what happened. But there was a lot of times, I mean, I didn't, you know, of course I didn't have a lot of clothes and, you know, a lot of materialistic things that I have now. But I think that when I was in high school, I made that commitment to myself. You know, I made a commitment that I wanted to make something of myself, whether it be in education or football, but I was going to go on and try and succeed. And, you know, as things went on, I was able to obtain a scholarship at the University of Oklahoma. And I went to the University of Oklahoma, and I was able to graduate and have success as a big football star and all that. But, you know, all people see is they see the front of people. They don't really see what's, you know, internally. And they don't realize the hard work and all the things that go into it to achieve that. And there was a lot of times, there was a lot of adversity, a lot of times that felt like, hey, you know, this isn't worth it. You know, I thought about quitting a couple of times and coming home. But for some reason, I faced adversity and was able to go on and have success. And I don't know if that was success, but I had the unfortunate opportunity to play for the Atlanta Falcons. I was like a #1 draft pick. And I'm not saying that, I mean, I'm saying that jokingly, but I realized the opportunity that I had, and that was to be a first-round draft pick. And back then, in '86, when I was drafted by the Falcons, I felt really it was an honor for me because it was like the second pick behind Bo Jackson. But I mean, there's a lot of times as I grew up that I felt the same way. I felt like that, hey, you know, this isn't worth it. So I was there for 5 years, and I was able to make the trade to Dallas. And that's another thing. I mean, a lot of people read a lot of different things about myself, and when I got to Dallas, they thought that I was like some outlaw person because, you know, I'm the kind of person I was gonna take a chance, and sometimes it's good to take a chance. Everyone has to take a chance. And I took the chance and decided that, hey, I didn't want to play in Atlanta, and the rest is history. Won the Super Bowl last year, and I have a Super Bowl ring. But I always had, I mean, short-range goals. Short-range goals and long-range goals are something I tried to always keep intact. The short range is like, well, you know, what am I doing now? You graduate from high school. Some will go to college, some will go to work, some will do different things. But I think the most important thing is to remember that whatever you do it because you want to do it, and you do it because you feel that that's what you want to do. And everyone does everything for a reason. Whatever reason you want to do it for, just make sure that that's something you want to do. And whether it be college, whether it be going on and doing whatever you want, you always got to remember that whatever you do, just make sure that it's something that you can live with, it's something you're happy with, that can fulfill yourself. And I was speaking about adversity. Well, I started a program like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago. I went to a high school. It was in inner city Dallas, and it was 80% Hispanic, and I'm Hispanic, and I wanted to get in that, I wanted to be more involved in the Hispanic community. Well, when we won the Super Bowl, there was like a big riot downtown Dallas. I don't know if anybody ever saw the clippings in the news, but there's one specific high school, Sunset High School, that was involved. I mean, there's like 10% attendance rate the day of the parade, and that was like 4 or 5 kids in school. So I felt like, well, you know, Tony, why don't you go over and talk to these kids, because they're 80% Hispanic, and maybe you can get a message to them to stay in school and to get an education. So I said, well, fine, I don't know. I didn't really know how they were going to respond to it. So I went over there, and I was sitting there speaking, talking in front of them, having some fun. And when I got serious about it, I said, hey, listen, I said, I want to make a challenge to you. I said, I want to challenge you to the 8 kids that are most improved academically in attendance, that I'll personally come to your school, pick you up in a limousine, and take you to dinner. So they were like, you know, they're all excited, you know, so I was like, okay, well, we're going to see how they respond. So every once in a while, Audrey, the lady that represents me in Dallas in marketing, she'd call me and say, well, this guy's doing this. And there was one kid that hadn't been to school in like a year and a half. And so he came to school, and although he didn't take his test, I mean, although he took his test and failed it, the guy showed up and made a contribution. So what was funny is that when I finally owned up and I took him and I showed up to school, 2 white stretch limousines, we all went to eat dinner. But there's one kid that really stuck in my mind. I really felt like I achieved something, and it reached the epitome. He told me, he says, you know, Tony, I had to give a lot of my friends up. And this kid, his name is Israel. He was making like D's and F's. He said I had to give up some of my personal friends to achieve this. But the friends that I have now are the friends that I want to carry on to me. So I was like, you know, I felt really touched by this because, you know, of course, you know, I had an impact on it. So I guess what I'm trying to allude to is the fact that when I sat there in your position and I looked at some guy and he's a speaker, And like I said, this isn't your ordinary commencement speaker. That I never envisioned being up there and addressing a class 12 years later. You know, I always thought that it would be something, but I never did really envision myself doing that. And that's why yourselves, I'd like to make a challenge to yourself as you go on and you face a lot of different things in your life. You know, just remember that dreams can come true. And I know everyone hears that, your parents and everyone, they always hear that. And it's never too late. But just remember that dreams will come true and that you can put yourself in a position where you can achieve what you want. And all I have to say is that I hope that when I come back and see you again, I hope everyone the best of success. And I hopefully remember who your commencement speaker was. So God bless you. Thank you very much.
That position of influence for good and to make some good out of it. Oh, we appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing with young people today. Again, it's encouraging to me, and I know it is to all of us. It's my pleasure at this time to present our class, and I want to make just a couple of comments. I could say a lot about the scholarship of our students. Our students have received hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarship aid to attend college and to go to VOTEC and do other things. I wanted to zero in just for a moment on 3 students because to me they typify some of the adversity that Tony's talked about overcoming. I want to recognize 3 people just for a moment. One who we get a lot of press on and have talked a lot about, Henry Tran. Henry came to the United States from Vietnam and many of you have seen the newspaper articles about he's the 4th in his family to be a valedictorian out of 8 children. Henry's had to overcome a lot of adversity. Another person who's overcome a lot of adversity, a young lady by the name of Jenny Alvarez, who at the age of 8 came to the United States from Columbia, was our Bovard Scholarship winner this year. And then a very, very special young lady who's overcome a tremendous amount of personal adversity, Kelly Matiljan, who was our first National Merit semifinalist in a number of years. I wanted to recognize those 3 students just for a moment to say, here's people who have really overcome personal adversity to reach the heights that they've reached. But at the same time recognize, and I could mention a number of names in our graduating class who have overcome just as much adversity just to be here today and graduate. And again, I could call a number of names. One final comment I wanted to make about this class I'm presenting to you. The thing I'm most proud of is that I feel many of these students have learned what it is to be a servant and what it is to serve. And the thing I am most proud about being associated with East Central is that we have been recognized year after year as being the high school that does the most service in Red Cross and some of the other service agencies here in town. As example, this year in the annual canned food drive, we were the highest participating high school out of 45 schools in Tulsa County. And to me, that speaks something of you parents and of our faculty and staff. I firmly believe that if parents and adults don't teach children to serve, they never learn to serve. How many of you would say that being a servant or giving service is something that just comes naturally? It doesn't just come naturally. So as I present this class to you and as I turn this part of the program over to our school board member, Ms. Nancy Allen, to authorize their graduation, I want to present to you a group of young people who I really do believe will change the society that they go into because they know what it is to give out of themselves and not just go and be selfish in terms of what they can get out of society. I'd like at this time to present Ms. Allen, and she will authorize our graduation.
Part of your school this year. I've been to East Central several times, and I'm very proud of this class and your accomplishments that you have made. And I just think it's real special that you're on the brink and the challenge to bring in a lot of great things to our world and our society. So I'm going to be looking forward to hearing back from a lot of you and hearing a lot of good reports. By the authority vested in me as a member of the Board of Education, Independent School District Number 1, Tulsa County, Oklahoma, and having evidence that each of you have completed the required course of study as set forth by the laws of the state of Oklahoma, I do hereby authorize the issuance of diplomas to the 1993 graduating class of East Central wonderful Cardinals that you are high school. Yes. First person I'd like to present a diploma to is to Henry Tran, your valedictorian. Bobby Nelson, your salutatorian. Sheila Hatley, who's the president of your senior class. To Jill Most, who's the vice president of your senior class. Lori Perriman, who's your secretary of your senior class. To Catherine Robertson, who is the treasurer of your senior class. And to Michael McGuire, who led our invocation. At this time, the people will take their position and will issue diplomas to the rest of the graduating class.
Amy Elizabeth McCage. Carlos Felipe Avella. Laura Angelica Ramirez. Amy Rachel Adair. Christopher Dean Ando. Shauna Jo Allen. Rebecca Marie Babcock. Jenny Alvarez. Shatia Disha Ballard. Karen Averill. James Wesley Barnes. Christy Jo Back. Vicki Bedford. George William Barnes. Jason Wayne Burnett. Danny Lee Barr. Pamela Bevan Johnson. Russell Wade Beasley. Jason Finley Bingham. Christopher Mike Bevins. Greg Boyd. Delana Bickerstaff. Megan May Brewster. Curtis Bingley. Edward Broadway. John Van Boone. Andy David Brungard. Christopher Allen Bratton. Kristen Denise Cauldron. Jolynn Bridges. Ronnie Ray Campbell. Chad Christopher Broughton. James Adam Chenoweth. Dwayne Boozer. Craig Allen Coates. Heather Marie Caldwell. Sarah Michael Collier. Eric Abraham Carlos. Christian Lewis Conrad. Dewana Lynn Cochran. Michael Kane Horrington. Teresa Suzanne Colson.
Neil Allen Conrad.
Sandra Jurovich.
Mary Ann Culbertson.
Christine Marie Douglas.
Gunta Doroshka.
Misty Dawn Drake.
Anthony Charles Douthick.
Tammy Lynn Endicott.
Brian William Ellis.
Anthony Thomas Aramita.
Tara Leslie Ennis.
John Michael Fallon.
Trina Evans.
Erica Diane Fields.
Kristen Lynn Fiddler.
Matthew James Foltz.
Deniselyn Chacon Floyd.
Jennifer Ann Aishin Foster.
James David Foster.
Chad Lynn Fox.
Richard Daniel Foster.
Michael Eugene Freeman.
Carrie Sue Frederick.
Pauline Annette Garcia.
Tracy Lynn Flippin.
Karen Lee Gary.
Peter Paul Galvin.
Cherie Golden.
Aaron Garrison.
Michael David Green.
Dennis Gregory Goforth.
Courtney Aaron Groves.
John Scott Goodnow Jr.
Wanda Dawn Carrollson.
Scott Allen Gregg.
Rebecca Sue Haydock.
Dennis Andrew Hackler.
Joanna Hinton.
Debbie Jean Henderson.
Tom Long.
Julie Dawn Hillman.
John Wayne Hubbard.
Tony Charlene Holmes.
Angela Michelle Hughes.
Christopher Michael Pappas.
Christy Denise Jackson.
Amy Lynn Jenkins.
Heather Renee Jameson.
Lori Ann Generowitz.
Taji Jennings.
Justin Dwayne Johnson.
Melissa Renee Johnson.
Krisha Dawn Jones.
David Bruce Jones.
Clinton Wayne Jordan.
Rashida Jordan.
Angela Tina Joseph.
Terry Lee Kelly.
Michelle Lynn Kelly.
Megan Nicole Kelsey.
Christopher Adam Kendall.
Aaron Douglas King.
Crystal Dawn Kistler.
Joe Kobler.
Shauna Denise Ladd.
Pamela Ann Knapp.
Michelle Denise Lahaki.
Tung Chi Lam.
Nicole Michelle Landrum.
Scott Ian Lane.
Tara Jean Long.
Edward Wayne Lord.
Private First Class Jackie Lyons.
Studio Jamie Malon.
James Michael Manning.
Joshua Andrew Merrick.
Rebecca Ann Marshall.
David Wayne Martin.
Jaron Eugene Martin.
Charles Earl Mason.
Kelly Marie Meteljan.
Rachel Maria Mathers.
Christopher Lynn McCoy.
Shauna Renee Maxey.
Sissy Sue McEwen.
Brian Allen McDaniel.
Brian Keith Miller.
Lisa Michelle Milton.
Dustin Shane Mosley.
Joseph Allen Mosby.
Misty Dawn Nelson.
Sarah Jennifer Neal.
Julianne Kim Wynn.
Chief Tran Wynn.
Russell Travis Noah.
Kim Ann Wynn.
Andrea Celeste Palmer.
Brian S. Odom.
Denise Ray Parrish.
Jennifer Rebecca Parks.
Ginger Lee Perry.
Stephanie Maria Perez.
Stacy Powell.
Deborah Dawn Hicks. Anthony Lloyd Perky.
Christopher Thomas Raridan.
Gary Quick.
Christopher David Ray.
Christopher Paul Rapp.
Tracy Lynn Reddick.
Autumn Kenneth Reddick.
Alicia Ann Roberts.
Kevin Michael Rhodes.
Rashida Naima Robinson.
Anthony David Robertson.
Gerald Nathaniel Rawlinson.
Brent Michael Rogers.
Kristen Michelle Russell.
Lynn Damone Roper.
Mindy Joe Sarnowski.
Jason Patrick Sanders.
Dana K. Savage.
Julie Lynn Sauter.
Tiffany Jeanette Shink.
Tiffany Michelle Schaefer.
Stephanie Ann Champnoy.
Crystal Tina Schramm.
Angela Michelle Smith.
Christy Lynn Sharp.
Marco DeJohn Smith.
Autumn Lee Siegel.
Claudia Christine Sotelo.
Trey Smith.
Kia Nicole Stanford.
Sarah Alice Smith.
Christy Lynn Snidely.
Kelly Shauna Spencer.
James Thomas Stone.
Drew Sang Stallings.
Marie Elizabeth Tanner.
Sarah Ross Stanley.
Man Lee Tran.
Eric Lynn Stevens.
Angela Sue Truesdale.
George Woodrow Sullivan.
Jeremy Craig Turner.
Jonaina Takes.
Oya Vucicevic.
John Tran.
William Paul Whitworth.
Jeffrey Randall Tucker.
Brian Keith Williams.
Juwan Lamont Turner.
Christopher Shane Wright.
Dina Rochelle Watkins.
Jason Kyle Grove.
Kelly Lynn Wickline.
Ton Wynn.
Jessica Ann Winkle. Michelle Lee Yount. Darren Vincent. Carlos Record.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and relatives, and especially the 1963 graduating class of the best high school in the nation, East Central High School. This is a fine group of people out here. And I'm kind of like Tony. It's been a while since I've been out there, a little longer than Tony. That's right. But I am a graduate of East Central High School, the best high school in the nation. And I am darn proud of it. And I want the whole world to know it. East Central, and I'm here tonight to represent the East Central Alumni Association. Those people have graduated before. The East Central Alumni Foundation was incorporated in the fall of 1991. However, it wasn't until this last fall that it became a functioning organization. And it actually got off the ground. Our initial goals were to develop and maintain a database of East Central alumni to support individual class reunions and activities, to support educational excellence at East Central High School and its community feeder schools, and to establish a mechanism for providing recognition for our students and financial support for worthy products, achievements, or service by the alumni, faculty, and students of East Central. And in line with this goals that we set, we now have in excess of 5,000 to 6,000 names in our database. We have received in excess of $9,000 in dues and contributions. And this year we were able to award a $1,000 scholarship for a deserving student, Ms. Jenny Alvarez. We were real glad to do that. We were also able to give a $1,000 stipend to an outstanding teacher at the school, Mr. Audie Bradshaw. And with the addition of these new graduating seniors and the new alumni out there, we will continue to grow with the school and to help it become a better school. I'm here tonight to welcome to the East Central Alumni Foundation its newest members, the graduating class of 1993. When you leave the auditorium tonight, all of you will be able to say, I am a graduate of East Central High School, the greatest high school in the nation.
personally thank her for all the hard work she did for us all this year. We've got her roses. This is from the senior class officers to show her love and appreciation. And then we have a $300 gift certificate at Woodland Hills Mall, so you can go crazy.
Is that the word perfect group back there? I would like to say to parents of the group, my job has been very easy this year because of your children, and you have fine young ladies and gentlemen for sensitive dollars. And thank you, class of '93, for making my first year an easy one. Thanks.